Yeah.
One person who honestly is great every season is Anthony Starr as Homelander. Is just like, I don't know, someone buy that man something. I you know what's weird too? Whenever I see, I know like he's not actually Homelander. I get that, but in real life, but it's not when I hear Anthony Starr and I see him, like it's not just the New Zealand accent. That's weird thing. He just seems like a goofy guy. Like he's just like he couldn't be more different than Homelander, which just it's a credit to how well he acts. But what I wanted to pull up here is what I consider to be one of the maybe the best thing I've ever seen on television. And I think this is also episode 4, and it's when Homelander goes back to the lab where they tortured him as a child.
Yeah.
I want to play this, and so I want to pause intermittently. Now, I'm sure you'll have something that you'll want to say about some part of this. It's about a 4-minute scene. Just say pause it, and I'll pause it and say what.
I will watch the whole thing and just enjoy it. It's so magnificent. Oh yes, there it is. Just his face.
Hey Frank, come on over. How about a game of wastepaper basketball?
I'm sorry?
First of 3, and tell you what, make it interesting. You win, I'll let you knock off early, go see the fam.
Okay.
Excellent. I'll start. You know, I learned this game from you, Frank.
I don't understand.
I once saw you take a shot of the wastebasket, and you nailed it, and you don't remember.
No.
Oh, wow. I sure do. Yeah, you were sitting there, and, well, I was in this oven here.
That's where I got to pause right here, because watching the scene, I was like, okay, well, where's this going? But the second Homelander said, I was in this oven here, I literally gasped when he said, I was in this oven here. I was like, oh, no. Oh, my God, no. That was just, holy shit.
That's what I love so much about Homelander, especially Anthony Starr's portrayal, is that you have no idea what he's going to say next. Like, there's always that uneasy feeling every single time he opens his mouth, but you don't know what's going to come out of it. And that's played up to like 10 in this scene, and it's so great.
It's so great. And like, this is one of like, we've never seen these characters before. We don't even know where he is. We're like, okay, well, what's going on here? We got a bunch of fucking nerds, and Homelander's here, just bullying them and shit. And then it's like, okay, he wants to play garbage basketball. Where is this going? Oh, this guy put him in an oven. Okay, all right, let's go on from here. So.
And, well, I was in this oven here, and you made the shot. You did a little fist pump to celebrate, and then you turned up the temperature to see if you could burn my skin. You remember that, right? Your turn.
I love the English that Frank throws with that shot there. Frank really put some sass into that shot. I don't know why, but like that shot, he like really had some flair into that throw. Not the time I didn't see it, but
because he thinks if he wins, he's going home. Or at the very least, he hopes.
There's a part where I'm going to mention that exact thing. Like how, like where in his mind was he thinking this? Like, okay, like is Homelander actually let me go? And okay, we'll get to it later. Hold on.
Okay.
Fun fact, even though my skin didn't char, it still really hurt. I mean, a lot.
That right there, I don't know. I like that because I didn't know that about home. This like a weird like lore thing for the show. It's like, okay, so yeah, it doesn't kill him, but it still hurts. That's actually good to know. It helps form the character, because you see things like Queen Maeve jumping in front of a truck and the truck smashes against her. You think it doesn't hurt her? Okay, it does hurt her. Or a Soldier Boy taking
Right.
machine gun rounds to the mouth. Like, oh, that still hurt him. It just won't kill him, which
I like that.
Yeah, I was in there screaming in agony, and my tears just sizzled away. Yeah. I remember there was people standing here taking notes, but behind them, I saw you make that shot. It really was a great shot, Frank.
I was just doing my job.
that's the line right there. Like, if there was even a 1% chance that Frank was making it out of that room, can you think of a worse thing to say to Homelander at that time?
I don't know what the fuck he was thinking. I was just doing my job. In what universe has that ever been a good excuse for anyone ever? Ever.
Yeah.
Especially the victim of something.
Yeah. My job is to throw a child in an oven and see what happens. And just like, yeah, look, but gotta feed the family, right? Yeah, come on. I don't know. That was a very interesting part to me because I'm pretty sure Homelander was still gonna kill him because he talks about his nightmares and shit. But that really pissed him off when Frank said that. It really got to him.
I think for me it brings up a very interesting question of like, what were all these folks expecting? Like, you would take your mind back to when Homelander was however old when they were doing this to him. And that guy is just putting this kid in the oven because they're trying to create Superman. They're trying to create an indestructible being that's going to essentially like be the most powerful being in the world under their control. And you are burning him alive. And you toss a motherfucking trash ball into the basket and you pump your arm and he's staring at you and you think that's it? You think that's the end of it? You
I did a whole video on that very same thing, talking about, okay, listen, why are these guys still at Vought? That's the thought that I had here because listen, I understand that you're an evil scientist, you're torturing. Jesus, how many children do you think he's tortured? Like, how many children do you think he's done this to? But so this is going on now. I get that you're still working at Vought while Edgar is there. Because Edgar controls Homelander. And as long as Edgar's around, you're fine. The day I found out that Edgar was fired as CEO and Homelander, that day I'm gone. Like, Homelander's gonna have to come find me on the other side of the planet. I'm sure as hell not clocking into work every day after that, just wondering when my CEO is gonna remember, oh, that's right. Remember the people who tried to burn me alive when I was a child? I'm gonna pay them a visit sometime. That's insanity. Insanity to me that they're still at this place. That is kind of wild. That's funny. Yeah, there's Wolfie. All right, that's good.
I had nightmares about that exact moment, and you can't even remember it. Funny, isn't it, how people can have such a different memory of the exact same thing. It's all a matter of perspective, I guess. Hey, Frank. This is my last shot. Why don't you go and watch from in there?
John, why don't we...
Homelander. Get in the oven, Frank.
Please.
Get in the oven or your family goes in with you.
Please, Homelander, you don't have to
Marty. Thank you.
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
You're sorry? Now? Why? You were just doing your job, right? I bet you would have won. I forgive you.
Mm. Damn.
Yeah, that scene is amazing. I think I like rewound it when it first. I didn't finish the episode. I went back and watched it again, and I later that day I texted my mom, and I didn't recommend The Boys. My mom, I'm sure she wouldn't like the show at all, but I said, you've got to watch the scene. Like, you need to watch this. This is like an incredible scene, and just like how well acted it is. And I told her the important details, like who Homelander was and where he was working and everything. And just
Mm.
I love it when an irredeemable, horrible character gets my sympathy. And I was fully on Team Homelander in fact, that entire episode, because I think he spent the entire time in that room. And like Frank got exactly what he deserved. I didn't feel bad for him at all. I was completely on Team Homelander. That's not easy to do.
That's so interesting because I was on Team Homelander for that entire episode as well, but also I did pity Frank a lot and this might just be a thing with the actor, but he had huge, sad eyes when he walked into the oven. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, when he goes in there, I felt bad. Like his eyes were sad, and like because he knew it was time, and that's why I feel like all he could say was "I'm sorry." He didn't even need to beg. He knew what was going to happen and how it was going to happen as soon as bro told him to get in that oven, and so there was no point in begging. But he says I'm sorry anyway, and that shit hurt. That shit hurt so much.
Man, this is the first disagreement. I had zero sympathy for Frank. I mean, like listening to Homelander talk about how he had nightmares about that day, like 30 years later, and the part where he says, "It's funny, isn't it? How the delivery, his delivery was incredible. Like, because you could actually feel the sadness that he had going on there." And I don't know. I said that the most heroic thing I've ever seen Homelander do is when he said, "Get in the oven, Frank." I loved it. I just how flippantly he said it. I don't know. I liked how they like the violins they added there. It's like a weird arrangement of like the Homelander violin thing that they did at the end of season 3. But that was the high point of the season for me. Like even more than the finale, just because I mean it kept going on. I like that scene better than the laser your dick off scene, but I mean that was strong too. But just how badly I felt. The only other time I felt remotely bad for Homelander was at the end of season 3 when he goes to talk to Soldier Boy about having a family. That was sad,
that was
man,
sad
because
was so
Homelander was like all he wanted in life was a family. He was treated like a lab rat his entire childhood. He finally finds out that the hero he admired as a child was also his dad. And he's like, finally, I have a father, and all he wants is to make his dad proud, something we can all relate to. Like, even like people who are even estranged, it's like, it'd be great if my parents were proud of me. And he pours his heart out to his long lost father. And his dad says, "You're a fucking pussy and a coward and a disappointment." Like, no superpowers can protect you against that kind of pain. And I felt the smallest tinge. That was sad when that happened to Homelander, because that fucked with him. Those 2 times, the only time that I actually felt bad for him.
It wasn't even a small tinge of sympathy for me.
Yeah, you're right. It was more than small.
Like,
you're right.
I was damn near heartbroken on his behalf. I was like, fuck. No matter, like, because here's the thing. It's like when those 2 characters are both irredeemably awful people. So they're both like morally on the same ground. And so I was like, can his evil father at least acknowledge his evil son? Like at the very fucking least. But also what my favorite scene, my all-time favorite scene of Homelander reckoning with his creators actually happened in season 1. And after watching season 4, I really wish they had saved that scene for later on in the series, because I think a lot of people have forgotten about it. But he had spoken to Dr. Vogelbaum. And I'm rewatching season 1. Yeah, he had went to talk to Vogelbaum in his like mansion in season 1, way back before we knew, as much as we knew about Homelander. And Vogelbaum like looks at him with like genuine regret and despair. and he's like, "You should have been raised in a home with a family who loves you." And it was the most sympathetic I've ever seen Homelander. Still to this day, even more so than this season 4 scene, because he's crying. He's like, "You're sorry. I'm the world's greatest. I'm the world's greatest superhero." And he says, "Vogelbaum says you're my greatest disappointment." That shit broke his heart. It
Hurt
broke
him.
my heart. That was such a powerful scene. And and it just goes to show you how consistently good the writing for Homelander has like always been. Like
Yeah.
no matter where the show has been, Homelander has always been on point. The writing and the acting.
Yeah, it's been fantastic. I like to see the only like small thing. I guess this isn't necessarily Homelander's character, which is always great. Is we were talking about the this covers many seasons, like the sense of dread around Homelander, which is still there. I feel like in season 1 it was way more. Like Homelander like
100%.
felt like God in season 1, that there was nothing you could stop him. And then you find out he does have weaknesses, like he's terrified of Stan Edgar and Vogelbaum or whatever. Like they have this mind control over him. Like, okay, all right, I can see that, some sort of weakness for the guy. He can't literally be invincible, but they I think they fucked up a lot on season 3 with actually I'll get to that later. But the inconsistency of Homelander's abilities, which I know that happens in superhero films, but like stuff that he shouldn't miss, like when Huey's crawling in the vents and he forgets he has X-ray vision, like that's weird, and or in the last episode when Ashley runs away from the door, like Homelander wouldn't hear that. Like he heard A-Train cuss him out from 40 feet away. He's not gonna hear Ashley's footsteps. I don't know, that was weird. But even his like power level, which seems like the easiest one to not fuck up, because in season 1 and 2, they made it seem as if every superhero in the world came against Homelander, he'd waste them all. Like that no one has it. Exactly. And then season 3 comes along, like, okay, Soldier Boy. They're like, okay, Soldier Boy is the only person remotely close to Homelander. I was like, okay, fine. All right, I got that. Then Billy Butcher gets abilities, and Butcher's pretty damn close. Butcher's like tanking punches from which Black Noir can't do that. But Billy Butcher, who's had superpowers for 15 minutes, just like, well, I'm gonna assume that I'm gonna be on the same level roughly as Homelander. That doesn't make any sense. And then the Queen Maeve at the end of season 3, like stabs him in the ear with a pen or something like that, and he bleeds. I said, okay, hold on. So now, say what?
Yeah, I'm just agreeing with you. It was
and so if Butcher is like remotely near Homelander and Soldier Boy is near Homelander and Maeve can make him bleed, I feel like the 3 of them could beat the shit out of him, like fairly easily, like 3 people
100%.
that in the same town. So he seems a lot weaker now, but they act like he's just as strong. I don't know. That's a small complaint, but actually it's not a small one. That's a pretty big one.
It's not really a small complaint.
Yeah, now I think about it.
I've been wanting to talk about it. I've been wanting to talk about this for a while because what I loved about season 1 is that they characterized Homelander as God. They were like, this guy is not. He's not a soup. He's not just a soup. He's God. Like he's unreasonably powerful.
Yes.
And so the implication is that like even their strongest atomic warhead would do nothing against Homelander. And Homelander knows that, and that's where the central conflict is between Homelander and the rest of humanity, because he knows that he could destroy it all if he wants to. And he even threatens Starlight in season 3 with destroying the entire United States if she posts the video of him of that plane crash. He's like, oh, let's blow this popsicle stand. And that's supposed to be a real threat. Like that's something he could actually do. He could take out every single sort of like infrastructure in the United States. Well, that same season we see him get jumped by 3 other soups, just 3. And 2 of them aren't even real soups. They're temp
right
soups.
They're not even real soups. Exactly. Yeah. God, that bugs me. That bugs me. It's like they didn't need to do that. Like they didn't need to do that. I don't get.
Yeah.